Lagavulin 16 Survivor Series. We'll get into the explanation on that and our special guest on this episode of Savor the Burn. Pow! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Savor the Burn podcast. My name is Jonathan. Across the barrels from me is Mr. W2. How do you do?
Doing fantastic.
Yes, and Mr. Josh has agreed to come along with another episode. Thank you, sir, for coming right along. And I'm looking forward to getting into this here bottle of Lagavulin 16. I have not had it. I've heard great things. I posted some photos on socials, and if you're not following on socials, please do. Savor the Burn, at Savor the Burn, you know.
Subscribe, bell notification.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube watching, definitely click subscribe and hit that bell notification. If you're on, Spotify, that also has video capabilities. That's really cool. Definitely happy to have you along. But if you're listening on other audio-only platforms, that's fine too. We're happy to have you. Leave us a comment, share it with a friend, all the things. Let's get into this sumbitch. What can you tell me about Lagavulin 16, and why are we calling it the Survivor Series?
We are calling this the Survivor Series because, as we talked about on the previous episode, we had a meltdown of a shelf unit in the studio here, and we lost 16 bottles of Scotch, rye, and Irish whiskey. And this was on the shelf in the box, and a few nicks in the label, some scuffs in the box,
but otherwise,
it's
just fine. Just fine.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'll put this back on the ground.
But no, I'm real excited to get into this. I had the opportunity to pick this up. I've got a subscription to Flavier.com. Oh, yeah. And with the subscription, you get it's not, open up and pick whatever you want, but they have a curated set of full bottles that you can pick from, and then a tasting box every quarter. And then they have started doing it where they do another curated line of bottles that are available, a little bit higher quality that you can pay a little bit for and get. I got this. I think I paid like an extra $20 and got a Lagavulin 16 year. So I was like, $20 for a 16 year? Yep. Let's go. So I've had this sitting on the shelf for a minute now, waiting for the right time to open it up and share it with friends and see what Lagavulin's all about.
Oh, I'm so stoked for you.
Yeah, I'm stoked. While you were talking about that, I was reading the little synopsis here on the back of the box.
What did you find?
This is all kinds of fun information.
Words.
Lots of words. Yeah, it says, many believe that this is one of the oldest distillery sites in Scotland. In 1816, local farmer and distiller John Johnston founded the first legal distillery here at Lagavulin, pronounced Lagavulin, after the Gaelic Lagan Mulin, the hollow where the mill is. Today, the 4 onion-shaped stills at Lagavulin are neatly tucked into a whitewashed jumble of buildings by the sea on Islay's rocky southern shore, guarded by the imposing ruin of, maybe you can pronounce it, Dunivag Castle?
Yeah,
Dunvag?
Yeah, I think it's
Dunivag Castle? That's pretty cool. And it goes on to talk about more and more and gives descriptions of other brands with the different sections of Scotland.
Funny story about Lagavulin, the distillery. It says first legal.
Legal, yeah.
So they told us a story while we were out there so when the tax man cometh, when they were making whiskey on the island, like right now it's like a 45-minute ferry over there. It's really cool, beautiful ride over.
Never ridden a ferry for 45 minutes.
I heard that. But anyways, so it used to take them 3 days. Once they heard the tax man was coming, it would take 3 days to get out to Islay.
Oh, wow.
So what they would do is they would disassemble the stills, hide it, and then be like, "We heard you're making whiskey out here."
Nope.
They're like, "Nope, Do you see a still? And everybody on the island was in on it because they're like, we don't want you taking our whiskey and we don't want to pay taxes on it.
Right. Yeah.
So they had before, because I think it was like 18 something it was established. They said that maybe 100 to 200 years before that they were making, they can't, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
But
they can say.
So imagine how many times they had to make a 16-year barrel back then without the advanced manufacturing we have now and perfect it so it's consistent.
That's awesome.
It's wild.
Time-honored traditions. So you talk, I pour?
Sure, yeah.
All right.
And I won't read everything here, but I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. This is the Lagavulin 16-year. It is a single malt Scotch whiskey. To jump back into that as a reminder, single malt means that it is made from a single distillery. Malt whiskey means that, and typically because it's the cheaper grain, it's made with barley. When they're talking about malt, they're talking about malted barley. But the single part of that is it was made single season, single distillery, single location.
Pause for bottle pop.
Nice. Squeaky tight.
That is fruity and smoky.
I know this one like the back of my hand. I don't know.
Oh, sweet Jesus. So, like we said, this is from the Isle of Islay. This is a 16-year. This is the maturation on this is in refill European oak casks. This comes in at 86 proof, which is kind of that Scotch sweet spot. And again, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. It says, an enduring classic of the peated single malt world, and rightfully so. It's crafted with precision and backed up by centuries of local distilling tradition. A slow fermentation between 55 and 75 hours fermenting, slow distillation around 5 hours for the first distillation and more than 9 hours for the second distillation, and a long maturation ensure the Lagavulin develops all of its delicious richness and peaty characteristics, balanced beautifully by sherry, fruit, and spice notes.
I have very limited, like the only exposure I have to sherry wine, is through the notes that we get off of the different whiskeys that we've done here. I've never had sherry wine. I've had really sweet red ones, some sweet white ones, and a couple bland ass dry wines, but I don't know. I've never really ventured into it.
So this goes on and says, this beloved single malt spent 16 years breathing the sea salt air, mainly in refill European oak casks. It's the quintessential Lagavulin, the classic and the most popular in the Lagavulin range. It has won a double gold at the 2022 edition of San Francisco World Spirits Competition and Too Many Hearts to Count.
It does have that fruity wine.
I get when I
dark fruit.
When I can smell Lagavulin, the first thing I get is that almost Band-Aid antiseptic-y thing. Yeah, that's I don't even have to have the glass near me.
Yeah, that briny, medicinal.
I put briny up there.
Yeah.
So as much as I love the Port Charlotte 10-year, which is a smoke peat monster.
Yeah.
This
not to be confused with Peat Monster,
which is also a really good blended Scotch.
Yeah.
This one has just as much hearty smokiness to it, but there's a lot of other things that to me screams that extra 6 years of aging.
The thing I like about Lagavulin the most is when people talk about smoke and peat.
Yeah.
There is a down the middle peat smoke thing. This has a very specific peat smell.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you can taste or like you can smell how mossy the area is.
Okay. Okay. I was going to say it's like smoke with sea.
Yeah.
Like smoke with the sea.
You get that sea salty.
I'm lacking on the moss part.
Seaweeds.
I just don't have that experience,
Yeah, I have my view of it is like I've been there and I drank it a lot before I got there, so I romanticized it. But when I smell it now, I smell a lot.
Please bring all that.
Yeah.
To You never know what people are going to pick up on.
Is there almonds or pecans on that?
It's
kind of a nuttiness.
It's like fresh sliced almonds, if there is.
Mixed in there with some sea salt.
Yeah, it's not a toasted thing. It's definitely like a fruit nut type of thing. But I get more vanilla than I get anything. I don't get a lot of... I get fruit, but more of a vanilla note, in my opinion.
The notes I have here say intense nose with massive peat smoke and iodine. Rich sweetness with hints of fruity and sherry notes, vanilla, and Lapsang Souchong.
Oh, Lapsang Souchong. It's a tea.
Okay.
Oh.
It's a Asian style.
Okay.
Oh.
I think it's Asian.
Dude, I'm gonna get this on the palate.
Yeah. We got all kinds of stuff here on the nose.
Oh, wait, can we cheers with a traditional Scottish cheers?
Dude, yeah.
Do it.
Yeah,
Slàinte. Slàinte.
Bless you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
This is...
Oh, wow.
Oh, what? Okay, hang on.
You getting that sweet, that dried fruit thing?
Dried fruit, maybe a little tobacco, some leather.
The leatheriness of it?
Yeah, tobacco. Leather, sorry.
There's a big tobacco on the palate.
It's very spicy, but not like as spicy as I would say Aberlour was.
Right.
It's not as spicy as a Speyside, but it definitely has that leathery, I get the tannins thing again, but it's more forward on that. And
Tannins show up for you on the palate and not the finish? For me, it's
more
right
on the
here
finish.
Okay.
It's near the finish, but the actual palate, I get dried fruit, I get the leather, I get the peppery, salty.
There's an oakiness there too.
Yes.
I think with that 16 years, you get a lot of the barrel flavor.
I might also go as far as saying a kind of a overly salted sourdough pretzel.
Okay.
Think so?
Is that pretzel like the
bit.
toastedness of it?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. But I'm getting kind of that.
You think there's a toasted taste to it?
maybe.
I think it's more nutty than it is toasted to me, but I get more of the sherry.
But I'm getting a little bit of that yeasty sourdough with that, and so I'm thinking Bavarian pretzel.
That's interesting. I see what you're saying, though.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
This is my favorite Scotch.
So, do you just drink this neat, or do you have this with a certain meal? You know,
This-
I mean, you're not gonna fucking drink this and have haggis on the side, or
This
But a board of cheeses.
Yeah.
this with a bone-in Kansas City strip at Golden Ox is the best meal I've ever had. Garlic mashed potatoes, Lagavulin, and a steak. Fuck all the way off. This is the dinner Scotch for me.
Dinner Scotch. Yes, it's almost meaty. Not like
barbecue-y.
not like Curveball,
Yeah.
the barbecue whiskey.
Have you ever had curveball?
I don't drink that shit. No, I can't.
It's
don't.
a gimmick whiskey and it's hot garbage. Thank you, Faith and Tim. Thank you.
My lovely sister and brother-in-law sent us a gift box.
Almost
and
as a joke.
They did 100% send it as a joke, and then we're like, yeah, we're gonna try it. And she's like, no, don't do that on the podcast. I'm like, oh, we're doing it.
Now that you said that, we're doing it with you
And it,
live.
No.
Doing it live.
it was awful.
What notes have we got here on the finish?
I think the finish on this, just because of
like
all
lightly-
the smoke and the brininess, is way longer than the
Significantly.
Aberlour, but yet it subdues a little bit, and then you just kind of get this low level hum that kind of just rides with you.
The smoke goes away. It's got that. It's not bitter, but it's got that like almost tea-like thing, like dryness on the back end. I don't know how to explain that.
There is a steeped tea.
Yeah.
Oh no, you read that off somebody else's tasting notes. So yeah,
Is it-
tea, steeped tea.
That's my own words. Notes here. I've got huge, long, warming, and peppery with a distinct appetizing sweetness. Spice is balanced by peat and vanilla. A dash of water brings out Indian spices.
Maybe that's
Indian spices.
Maybe.
The palate says a rich dried fruit sweetness of the sherry character with clouds of smoke and strong barley malt flavors. At the back of the mouth is an explosion of salty and peppery smoke.
Yeah. I just love that everything about this whiskey is very separated. The experience you have with it, the smell, the taste, the finish, everything has its own experience with it, and it's very... Oh, are we doing 2?
You can if you want.
Daddy wants to.
I was looking over the bottle. We haven't talked about bottle presentation yet. Yes, it did have its own box down here. And yes, and no, the box isn't rated for fall protection or whatever. But it did help because right here it's split out, and down here it's a little funky too, and there's a little bit of water damage. It's not water, it's whiskey damage.
One of the things that I did lose in the catastrophe.
What's that?
I lost my Glencairn pipette.
Oh, really? With the
hand blown glass pipette. The end of it actually has the little Cairn shape.
Well, you know where you can get another one of those? If you go to savortheburn.com/shop and scroll down, you'll see the pipette, the Glencairn pipette, along with some of these Glencairn glasses, whether it's singles or in a carrying case, or if it's in a lovely little.
I've never cut it.
A lovely little.
Dude, just
glass gift set like this. You can find all that stuff on savortheburn.com/shop with our Amazon affiliate links. All small businesses.
We have learned that just a couple drops of water, which is not going to water it down by any means, really a lot of times it opens up a lot of new flavors.
So as far as bottle presentations go, it came in a box. It happened to help out with the fall. It's got a shouldered wine glass, maybe a little bit, because it does taper down a little bit.
I feel like there's pretty traditional Islay bottle. Like,
has it got a punt?
Right next there.
Not much of one, no.
Nope.
It's like talk about ashtray punt.
Right next door is Ardbeg, and Ardbeg bottles are pretty close in their standard line. They're a little bit more flared, like on the necks.
A little bit of water opens up the vanilla on the palate.
100%.
Yeah, it mellows it out, but all of a sudden your vanilla blooms. And it becomes more of a custardy vanilla.
It is a little smoother and it's a little stickier. It's kind of a good way to... Yeah. I don't... Toffee, maybe? Is that kind of...
Sure, yeah.
I don't know. I just drink it neat all the time.
I guess we got some ratings to get to, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. The box has lots of great information on it. The label, maybe it does. It looks cool.
I like the dual label.
I
like that vertical oval.
I like how it's got the year embossed on it, and it says Islay on the other side.
Yep.
It's got like a knurled edged oak topper, natural cork. You had to peel the aluminum cap to get the damn thing off of there.
Not to be confused with the aluminum crack cap that
that you would find on
No.
Sorry.
As much as I love my Weller, they put the cracked aluminum cap on there. Jim Beam, on the other hand,
right, uses plastic.
High quality plastic.
You can't hide glass.
And styrofoam gaskets.
Styrofoam gaskets, all the way. Nothing wrong with that. By golly, talk shit on my Jim Beam. Even their flagship distillery only. It looks like it's their lineage. It looks like it's got this cool
hardwood top
thing,
on there,
but it screws off. It's not hiding a cork under there.
Inside there.
It's a plastic cap. Stuck right in there. Some say it sucks, but I say it's heritage.
Wrong heritage.
It's goddamn tradition in these parts.
On tour, we used to have. We couldn't just outright say we were drinking really heavy, so we would say, hey, do you guys want to have a sleepover? And we're having a sleepover with Jack, Jim, and Evan.
Oh, Evan.
I mean, it was a sleepover. Nobody was waking up before noon that next day.
I was really happy with its finish. I was really happy with the finish.
Yeah. I think so. My path to Scotch was interesting because I never used to like it. And so then Dennis, my stepfather, got me into bourbon.
I was going to ask if Dennis had played a role in there somewhere because I knew he loves his whiskey.
Yeah. And he introduced me to a couple bourbons that blew my mind because to me, and this is unpopular opinion, a lot of bourbons, ryes, and American whiskeys, there's not a huge variance in the flavor notes.
Sure.
And you have to be really adept to pick up on those changes. But it's kind of like, if you look at it in a broad spectrum, it's one note to me. It's like, that's American whiskey.
Okay.
There are whiskeys that break out of that. Leopold Brothers breaks out of that.
Right behind you.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh my.
One of the best.
That blew our mind.
Yeah.
We were just like, it was so neat. All the
we want to get that guy on here.
The whole smorgasbord of rye variants.
Yeah.
It's like sourdough,
blew our
walnut.
mind.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But those are the breakouts to me. I think Leopold Bros, Garrison Brothers.
We have a couple we haven't reviewed yet.
We don't have any Garrison Brothers yet.
God, you got to get some Garrison Brothers in here.
I've heard mixed reviews on them though.
They're all lies. It's amazing fucking bourbon.
Okay.
It's amazing bourbon. The single barrel, I will buy.
They're also
one
not
and bring
cheap.
it. Yeah, I'll buy it and bring it. That's how much I believe in it.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different one. Yeah, you're totally right. We haven't had him on here.
Garrison Brothers is the full wax dipped whole top
Leather.
Yep.
Yeah. I was not sold that bourbon could do new things until I had that.
Okay.
And I was like, what? And all of them
Bold
were
statement, Cotton.
I bet
Bold
I have
statement.
something back here that you haven't.
Well,
had.
here's the thing. 100%. You guys know. But a guy like me who's young, didn't know much about bourbon, and everything that's force fed you, it's just like, like it's just, it's flatline to me. So when I got.
Is it going to get me drunk?
Exactly. Yeah. That's where I was at. But I remember somebody said, I was talking about bourbons, and I was like, because I was like a fancy beer guy, but like drank shitty liquors. And then he goes, hey, I want to give you something. Try this out. And I'm thinking everything's a bourbon because I'm stupid and American. So he pours me a Dalmore 18. And I drink it and I go, what the fuck is this? Absolutely blew my mind. I loved it. There was like raisiny notes, fruit cake, the malt. It's had that peaty smokiness. One of the best Highland scotches I've ever had. I thought it was a bourbon. And he goes, that's a scotch. And I go, wait, I like scotch? I thought scotch was Cutty Sark. So
Johnny Walker Black.
Exactly. Just like, meh. But it changed my mind. And then I don't know what it was, but I asked a real Scotsman. I go, what's the whiskey? What is the whiskey to drink? And he goes, get a Lagavulin 16. He goes, don't look back. Went and got a bottle, paid $120 for it. And I was like, this better be life-changing. And it was. And I was like, I've never had anything like this. Like, it is, when you look for that Islay taste, that is the pinnacle. Now, there's others that are really good. Ardbeg. You've got Kalila. You've got Bonahuben.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yep.
All those Islay scotches are so wildly different than each other, but very much Islay. So, but this one's like the granddaddy to me.
That's the thing that has actually been one of the intriguing factors for me to want to get into and finding I love Scotch is really digging into, first off, Scotland as a whole. Very small island.
Right.
Travel the whole thing in 4 hours.
How diverse.
And being able to break up such a small region into 5 very distinct, very different, almost polar opposites in some regards.
That you can identify
styles.
on smell and taste alone.
Yes.
Wild.
It's insane.
You can't do that between a Texas and a Kentucky, or Oregon, or Missouri,
or Tennessee
Kansas.
and Colorado. You can't do it.
No,
you can't do it.
Even if it's an Irish whiskey aged in Missouri casks,
right? But Scotch,
yes,
on taste alone, this is an Islay.
You can definitely taste the difference.
This is a space side.
An Islay and a space side. It's just like, they're both a little smoky. Well, one's a lot more smoky than the other, but you can definitely You can definitely tell.
Even Highland and Lowland. I mean,
Highland and Lowland,
they are very, very different.
The funny thing is like, so we had Aberlour, and then we've had this. They share the same body of water, but taste completely different.
Yeah, the Spey River.
Well, the Spey side is on the side. It's a very small partition in the Upper Highlands that faces like it's close to Islay Sky, which Islay Sky has its own taste too. But it shares that same body of water that Islay's against. And you would think if they're coastal Spey side that it would, like Talisker, you would be like, oh, it's got to taste like Islay, right? Not even fucking close. Like,
well, that makes sense. I mean, is there a peninsula there or something?
Well, you have Islay Sky, but it's attached to mainland Scotland. It kind of breaks it up, but really the next main body of land is Islay. And then there's other, like the Isle of Jura, which is a lot further north, totally different, but it's really connected, if I believe, to Islay. So they're all, I don't like Isle of Jura, but totally different tasting whiskey. It's amazing you can drive tits to tail, Scotland, east to west in 4 hours. And I think top to bottom in 5 or 6. And it's wild. Like they think a 45-minute
ferry to
Islay. Yeah. Just because of the winds, how it works.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But man, yeah. I love Islay.
It sounds great. It sounds like something Jennifer would never...
Time to start planning.
Go.
Right.
Just go. It's amazing. Go to Edinburgh. Do the Scotch Whisky Society tour. You get 15% off anything in the shop, and they usually get distillery exclusives. And Edinburgh is the better
Pack your bubble wrap.
Yeah, when you said pack your bubble wrap, I'm like, why are we going to be bouncing off of cars? I'm like, no, we're going to be bringing bottle homes, dummy.
So get
bottles home, dummy.
Coming home, we bought a bunch. We bought enough bottles. We had to buy
another suitcase.
We stacked it in there, and we went to Edinburgh, and we're sitting there trying to weigh it, and it's not letting us weigh it. And we're like, what is happening? And this guy came over, and he's like, what's in here? And we're like, a lot of whiskey. And he goes, hold on. Comes up to it, puts his foot under it, and he like lifts it up, and he goes, thanks for coming through, mates. And like we just we went through, then found a little trick. So when we were coming back through, we had to go through Heathrow, and my stepfather, who loves bourbon, he's like, Jack Daniels makes a whiskey you can only buy at Heathrow called the Jack Daniels Traveler Select. He goes, I want you to buy me a bottle. I want to try it. It was only like $45. So I go to the duty free, I buy it. They put it in a little bag with the red thing, and you have to hold on to it.
Yep.
We get to Chicago, we're in the customs line. We get in there, and I got this 75-pound bag of whiskey.
And a Ziploc bag.
Of Jack Daniels Traveler Select from the duty free. And this guy looks at me and goes, do you have anything to declare? And I go, I bought some whiskey. And he goes, get out of here. And I walked as fast as I could over that yellow line. And my buddy's like, because we were like, hey.
You didn't lie.
Like,
you bought some whiskey.
We're going to put the taxes on our credit cards.
Over here.
Yeah. Dude, he said, get across the line. And we got away with fuck import taxes. But yeah, seriously, one of the best things. So yeah, go to the duty free, get a $40 bottle, save your ass.
Love it. What did you give it on the nose?
I gave it a 4.5.
I went 5.
You went 5?
I went all in.
That's all right, because it looks like so did Josh.
Yes.
Oh, Yohash coming in solid with the 5. How about the palate?
What did you give it on the palate?
4.75.
I kept it at 5.
I like that.
I dug this a lot.
I brought mine up to a 4.75. It was easy. 4.75.
I have one other whiskey that I think beats this, and it's always in the back of my mind, and I know I'll never get it again. So this will always just be hovering right at.
So this one, especially someone new to scotches, this is probably a little bit heavier smoke than someone just getting into scotches will be ready for. All that said, as heavy and full-bodied as the peaty smokiness is on this, it's actually, I don't want to use the word tame because it's not tame. It's balanced. It's throttled.
Yes,
it's balanced.
Yeah,
it's great and balanced.
I'm glad you brought that up because as far as peated, Islay scotches go, you can get really heavy, really just like you're licking a charcoal briquette.
Yes.
You know.
Well, the Port Charlotte, I think, is way
For me,
smoky
it's there,
and peatier.
and it's so band-aidy medicinally.
Yes.
So it's too much for me.
This one offers, I think, a lot more than that one, but it's balanced a lot better.
And it's got a lot more flavors to it other than just that. And
Yep.
we mentioned this only after the camera stopped rolling on the last episode that we had Mr. Josh here, that, you know, everybody's preferences are completely different. Everybody's palate is different. Like, not everybody's going to like
what you dig.
a whole bunch of smoke. Yeah. Corey Taylor said it best. Dig what you dig, man. And so, you know, we talked about the Port Charlotte. You've seen it here on the podcast before. You know, if this is your holy grail, fine. You know, great. Enjoy it. You know, share it with your friends.
That's a wonderful holy grail.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you want something lighter on the palate, you know, you go grab the Highland Park 12 that we've done here before, we went video.
Or that Aberlour.
The Aberlour is we talked about in the Aberlour episode that was a great introduction.
Yes.
No, it was how did you put it? It's a great first step to a next level, or first step past entry level whiskey or Scotch. It was great. We all really liked it. So, and then we also talked about how we didn't talk about the score rating. We haven't really talked about how we score things, how we rate things.
Yeah, how do we score things?
We go from 0 to 5 on just our impressions on it, how much we like it. 5, where our socks are completely knocked off. 0, which we haven't had yet, thank goodness. Even with the infamous
the Navigator.
Yeah.
On nose, palate, finish, and then bottle presentation.
We add those up. 0 to 5 rating on all those 4 points. Add them all up. Divide by 2, and that's how we end up with our final score.
Does a fancy box, bag, bottle
does it make it taste better?
Make it taste better?
No.
But
This
you know
is
what?
cool.
It might make you buy it.
It might make you buy it.
Yeah, we're judging a book by the cover on that one.
And honestly, we have some that don't have a great presentation, but they're amazing drinks. So it's not all presentation, but you know what?
I've been preaching that for years. If you look at me, it ain't much to look at, but I'm pretty dope. Damn it.
What did you give it on the palate? Sorry, you were taking a sip.
No, I gave it a 4.75 because although this is one of my favorite scotches, there are ones I've been lucky enough to have that have absolutely burned their memory into my mind, and I can never take away that palate. There's like
Totally get that.
Yeah, it's just it's one of those things. It's like if I hadn't had those, this is a 5 all day. If you had to ask me what's your favorite whiskey, everybody who knows me will be like, Josh loves Lagavulin. Because I'm not going to drink some of those super high-end things very often in my life. But that's why it gets the 4.7. The only reason it gets the 4.75 is because there is another one that I've had that none of us are going to be able to drink because it's gone. And it was amazing.
That happens.
Yeah.
That's happened.
Nope.
Yeah, West Bottoms Whiskey Company. I mean, they had a maple cask finished rye that it's a crying damn shame that they don't have it anymore. You can still find a couple bottles here and there, because the liquor stores don't know how rare it is now. And got part of one here. I got part of one at home. It makes my heart sad.
Yeah.
Please bring it back. Bring it back, please. Bottle presentation. We talked a little bit about it. What'd you give it? W2?
It came in a box, so it gets a little bit extra from there. I like the classic look of this bottle. You touched on it.
Yeah.
It's a very typical classic Islay bottle and presentation. I love the dual label thing. I gave 4 3/4.
4 3/4? Not too bad at all. I gave it a 5 because I'm easy to please.
There's probably some points in there that I gave it because it survived crashing and amongst all the broken glass. Dude, you guys, I'm still finding shards of glass 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
I have mopped 5 times. I have vacuumed probably 10 times. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how.
So
but
much glass.
This thin cardboard box here was.
There's no extra padding or anything in that.
It's all Linda Carter needed to protect her against all the bad guys when she was Wonder Woman. I mean, that's what helped get it to a 5 for me. You?
I went with 4 because everything about it, and this is my problem with most Diageo products, is they kind of have a similar.
They are a Diageo.
Mm-hmm. They do, and that's recent because of the financial input from Mr. Ron Swanson. It's a Diageo, so like the problem with doing that is you increase your sales and your visibility, but everything kind of becomes standardized. So their box, it's a little bit more flimsy.
Yep. It's a very thin cardboard.
It's a thin board box. There's nothing magical that's happening with the bottle. I do like that they've done this for forever. I like the distilleries on there. I like that it shows when it was established, little embossing. But at the end of the day, fake ass cap. They could have kind of played off the green and gold that they do at the distillery a little bit more. And in fact,
like a Buffalo Trace product.
That's a very subtle green
for something that's been around this long and has been this acclaimed. You would
1816 official.
Yeah, you would think that they would put a little bit more give me a box at this point. Like even if it's a plastic box, like something a little bit higher end.
Or like a Booker's box.
Yes.
Like it's almost balsa wood, but I mean, it really adds something to it.
That's for such an iconic whiskey, I think it loses points on that because it's just like, you can tell a giant brand has taken over and made it efficient.
And finish. We didn't get into finish. W Dose, what'd you give it on finish?
I thought we did do finish.
No, I went nose, palate, bottle presentation.
No. Well, on that note, I went 4.5.
4.5. I like it. I give it a 4.5. There were notes on the finish that we hadn't really had it before, like steeped tea, like the Lapsang Souchong tea. It was sweet and spicy in a not a tequila or jalapeno or hatch pepper kind of way. It was spicy like baking spices kind of towards the end. Smoke and brine. Toasted, nutty. It was. You'd be hard pressed to find a better daily drinker Scotch, I would think, than this. If you're into the Islay Scotches,
the peatier stuff.
Yeah, the peatier stuff. So that brings us to our final scores. W2, how did you do?
9.625.
9.625. So that's what, 5/8?
Yep.
Well, I gave it 9 3/8. Josh.
Yeah. Well, yeah. 9.25?
9.25, 9 1/4. So we are
not bad.
We're not far away from each other's experiences here at all.
And according to our buddy Phil, that puts us in a half a bip.
A bip. I always get that mixed up.
Base. I forget what that stands for. Phil has done a lot of beer judgings. And a bip is
the math.
It's a base something point. Base. Phil, help us out here. Comment below.
Please
do it. But anyway, if in a panel of ratings, if everything is within a half point, then there's kind of an accord.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and this is your first time you guys having it, so I would expect your rating to be a lot higher than mine because this blew my mind the first time I had it. I was just like, "What is this?"
Yeah. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
This second nose is something else too.
Smoke and brine.
Yeah.
Well, so
all day.
It's meaty.
I mean, yeah, this is what you want your steak to taste like.
Yes.
So in any other context, this might not be a good thing, but I feel like this is a good thing for this. This smells like a smoky bar.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is the pub.
Like a 1980, early 90s smoky pub.
This smells like my car.
Davy's Uptown in the 90s.
Oh. Davy's Uptown's easy.
Little less piss.
God, less piss.
Jeez.
Depending on which bar you're standing next to.
Yeah, a little less arson investigation too.
Oh man, yeah, rest in pieces. What a mess that turned out to be. Well, you know what, guys? If this sounds good to you, definitely grab it, try it, let us know what you think. Like I said before, send us emails, info, Jonathan, or W2 at savortheburn.com. We had a good time with it. If you have a Scotch that you think we would like, if you want us to try, we're not experts by any stretch, but we are enthusiasts. You know, we're very enthused about it. Oh, Scotch! You know, we have a good time with it. We pick apart. I mean, you can see on the notes up here, there's all kinds of different tasting notes that we, as amateurs, or
so much,
or what's the next step above amateur?
Hobbyists.
That's a good one. Yeah, us whiskey hobbyists are able to pick up with our palates that really we just started putting to the test like 2 years ago now.
Yeah. Yep.
That's amazeballs. You know, if you go up there to savortheburn.com, savortheburn.com, and click the drop-down menu, I can't fucking talk. I don't know why. It's been a problem all week. Click the drop-down menu, go on the liquor cabinet, and you can find Scotch in there. And then you can find everything that we've done tonight and talked about. You'll find all the tasting notes in there, our W2 and Jonathan scores in there.
I'm really anxious to get this one added because this one could take over the number one Scotch slot.
It very well could. It really could with these scores.
Mm-hmm. And if it does,
if it doesn't, I'd be surprised.
If it does, I'm pretty sure right now the Port Charlotte 10-year has the number one spot on our Scotch.
This is number one.
So I think this one might have just bumped it.
Go buy a bottle of this, you cowards.
Do it.
Oh, and one more again. How do they find you?
Instagram at the American Josh.
Yep. If you want to see pictures of knobs, shit talking on the music industry, if you need somebody to do some recording, mixing, and mastering,
this is the guy.
Yeah, it's going to cost you, like it would cost Burn the Gates. But you know, if you watched the episode before, you heard the laundry list of people he's worked with. So if they trust him, you can trust him. We could trust him. So without further ado, you know what we're going to say. No matter who you are and where you are, what you're drinking and who you're drinking it with, never forget. Keep on burning.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll get at this next one. Keep on burning.